Whiskey Gaming, and this is my year-end wrap-up. These are what I consider the best games of 2021. Now I will say there were some great games that aren't on this list. There were plenty of games that I recommended that aren't on this list. This is the list of games that I just really enjoyed and found myself coming back to or thinking about on a nearly constant basis. Now that being said, I'm also not going to go into depth on all of these. You can check out my reviews. I will put links in the descriptions below. And let's start with one of the early ones. It's The Medium. I was really impressed with The Medium. I just thought that this was the most Silent Hill-ish game that we've had in a while, and for me, Silent Hill is kind of the pinnacle of survival horror games. So something that really did just a great job telling an awesome story as well as delivering some solid scares. I've got to put it on there, and I really enjoyed it. I've played it again since the first time, and I enjoyed it the second time. Then you've got Scarlet Nexus. This one kind of surprised me because I do think there's a lot of anime games out there that are really just shovelware, and this one stood out from that. This was a really solid game. I enjoyed the combat, I enjoyed the story, I enjoyed the different perspectives on the story. I just think they put something together that I wasn't prepared for, and it really impressed me. Now, next up you've got Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. It's been quite a while since we had a Ratchet and Clank game, and I was at the point where I would have settled for some HD remasters of the old PS2 games. But here they were, they delivered, and not only is it a very good game mechanically, the story is awesome, I really enjoy the new characters. Rivet and Kit were a really good addition. They didn't just feel tacked on, they didn't feel like some afterthought, they felt like they were meant to be there all along, and they're a good addition, and I would love like a spin-off series about them. That would be cool. After that is Life is Strange True Colors. Now I will say, while it may not be the strongest Life is Strange game, I really enjoyed it. I thought the story they told, once again, was fantastic. I mean, that is the point of the Life is Strange franchise, is to tell these really strong stories that are able to hit emotional notes, able to be funny, they do a wonderful job at storytelling, and this is a incredibly strong entry to the franchise. And of course, I've got to include Neo: The World Ends With You. I loved the original The World Ends With You on the DS. Yeah, I played that, and it was a great story, and they once again returned telling another amazing story. It's weird and convoluted, and it's just over the top, but on top of it, I love the art style, I love the combat style. I think this was an awesome game. I hope they make another at some point. Not too soon, but sooner rather than later. Then you've got one of the biggest surprises of the year for me, Guardians of the Galaxy. After the Avengers, which I had enough fun playing, but man, it wore itself out quick, Guardians of the Galaxy was not something I really knew what to expect going into, or had a lot of confidence going into, but by the time I was done, I loved it. I had so much fun playing it. I started playing it again immediately afterwards. The storytelling, the characters, the gameplay, it's all really well done. I was just impressed with it as a whole. The other surprise hit is Kenna, Bridge of Spirits. I was really into it. It had this great, I don't want to quite say old school platformer vibe, but we are talking like PlayStation 1, early Xbox, that kind of platforming that you don't see much of anymore. They brought it to life with a really good story. The gameplay, I wasn't necessarily in love with the combat. I do think it could have been better, but it was still fun and functional. And those little rock characters are still adorable. That has not changed in the slightest. The music also, loved it, phenomenal. Great game overall, just really impressed by it, glad to see it. Hope we get to see more from those developers. And then lastly, I think it's a pretty easy pick, at least for me, Resident Evil Village. I was really impressed by the game. There were some story elements that I could have lived without, but I do think they did a good job explaining a lot of the questions that were left over from Resident Evil 7, as well as telling a new story and setting up something new. But beyond that, the gameplay was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the time attack mode that they introduced. I just love what they did in general. I spent a ton of time playing this game, and even now in my spare time, it gets me going back to the raid mode every now and then. And it even got me going back to the Revelations 2 raid mode just to get a little bit more. So to wrap up this video, I gotta say this year actually landed some pretty strong games. And like I said at the beginning, yeah, Halo was awesome, Forza was awesome, but these are the games that really stood out to me, and I just have to say were my favorite of the year. So now it's time to wind out the year. Happy 2021. Ready for some videos in 2022, but it's important. In the comments below, tell me what you thought the best game of 2021 was, and what are you looking forward to in 2022. As always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And if you like what I'm doing in general, share and subscribe. Have a good one.